Alrighty, how you guys doing? Welcome back to another episode of PES 2016 My Club Hungry for Glory series. Sorry I've not been uploading for a while because I decided to actually play PES more. I mean, recently I've been editing more than playing and I was in a bad form, but we're back on it. I've been doing good in the PES battle for the battle to play against other YouTubers to win a signed Neymar shirt. Currently holding the first place. Okay, let's go ahead with this episode, guys. Previously I made a squad builder for Diego Simeone, and in this episode we're going to do a squad builder for Pep Guardiola. As you can see, I have a gameplay in the background. It's very simple, guys. I mean, Pep Guardiola is for advanced players. It's really hard to know how to defend with Pep Guardiola. I'm going to give you some quick tips regarding the gameplay and how player card is very important, and then we're going to do a quick squad builder. I want to do a quick squad builder. I don't want to do like FIFA style, put in players individually, because that will end up with a half-an-hour long video and nobody watches the video that long. So the squad builder will be ready and I will talk about each player, why choose each player for each position, etc, etc. Now, as you can see in the background, guys, when it comes to the gameplay with Pep Guardiola, it's weird. I mean, in general, I think Pep Guardiola in real life attacking area is wide, to be honest. I mean, if you look at Pep Guardiola, the way they basically play Germany style like they play in the World Cup. You basically attack wide, you go wide to draw the opponent's defenders to come wide, creating space for the striker. That's how Pep Guardiola plays. And in my club, attacking area is center. Now, for the reason being, I'm sure Konami staff knows that, if Pep Guardiola was attacking area wide, it will almost make the perfect manager, if you know what I mean. But yeah, so in general, guys, as I always say, because Pep Guardiola's containment area is wide, you definitely need to use 3 center backs. Now, the reason why for being containment area wide is very open down the middle. I see some people using 4 center backs. It's still okay. When your containment area is wide and your attacking area is center, you can get away with using 4 center backs. The only disadvantage is when you use 4 center back, you will not have fullback overlaps, and fullback overlaps is really important in this PES. You can actually hold the ball in the midfield and look at your fullbacks opening wide and your strikers coming narrow. So fullbacks play a massive part. This is how the AI works in PES 2016. But at the same time, I would rather have a balanced tactic in a way. I don't really need my fullbacks to overlap constantly sometimes. With Pep Guardiola, I use 3 center backs and a fullback. Normally, I switch my fullbacks. If an opponent has Robin, I would put a center back on Robin's side. If an opponent has Ronaldo, I would put a center back on Ronaldo's side, etc, etc. And when it comes to the gameplay, guys, with Pep Guardiola is really weird because you can counter like crazy with Pep Guardiola. With the high pressure, if you watch the match between Atletico and Bayern Munich in the Champions League semi-finals, you see how Pep Guardiola plays. It pressures the opponent so deep and the opponent has to counter. And every time I was watching this match, it reminds me of my club manager club ID, if you know what I mean. So I'll tell you how to play against Pep Guardiola and how to play with Pep Guardiola quickly, because so far I've made a lot of videos talking about these kind of stuff. When you are versing Pep Guardiola or any manager that you know has frontline pressure and aggressive, you have to counter wide. This is very simple, guys. If you watch football, if the opponent's pressuring you, you just counter wide. If the opponent's all-out defense and conservative, you try to do small passes around the box, mixed up with dribbling and manual lofted pass around the box. If you want to know how to play with Pep Guardiola, then you have to build up slow down the middle, then go wide and come narrow. You just have to keep in your head, you need this triangle between your wingers, your striker, and your attacking midfielder. And so far we had a variety of Pep Guardiola formation, but the tactic stays exactly the same. Every time a new Pep Guardiola comes up, people like spamming me with, "How do you like this new Pep Guardiola?" I'm like, guys, it's the exact same tactic, just different formation. So if you ask me, 4-3-3 in my opinion is one of the best Pep Guardiola formation and tactics. My number 1 is the 4-3-3, and my number 2 is the old 3-4-3. I think that was the best one. I still can't decide which one is the best because I do very well with both of them. Personally, I'm not a fan of Pep Guardiola. It's too aggressive. If I use Pep Guardiola, I have to play basically D mode, if you know what I mean. And with Pep Guardiola, guys, don't even bother try to play build up against Pep Guardiola. You absorb pressure, intercept with counter, just like real life Atletico Madrid did. All you gotta do, guys, hold the ball, watch your player movement, and counter Pep. That's what you have to do. Do not do blind passing. When you're getting pressured around the box, do manual clearance, L2 and circle. Do any button that you can think that will manually clear the ball. Because a lot of time, if you watch me in my live stream when I'm not 100% focused, I give away those silly goals when I make a silly pass around the box, give it to the center, and then the opponent wins the ball back again. These are an example that happens a lot. For example, opponents pressure me down the box, I intercept him, I make a pass down the middle, his attacking midfielder gets the ball, counters me again. So when you want to clear the ball, throw it to the fucking fans, Just go wide. Do not go down the middle when you clear the ball. Anyway, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and do the squad builder for Pep Guardiola. Now, as you can see, I already have a formation tactic for Pep Guardiola ready. But in general, this is a general tip how to do a squad builder with Pep Guardiola. I don't want to show you the one I made because that one is based on player forms. Normally when I make squad builder, I use players who are on form. But for this case, we're going to do we're going to copy the Bayern Munich club ID. If you look at Bayern Munich, they have two tall center backs, very, very dribbling and skillful fullbacks with prolific winningers and a fox in the box. An attacking midfielder, of course, it's either going to be sometimes what's that Brazilian guy's name? I forgot. When it comes to the center midfielders, you have Vidal, which is a destroyer, or you have Xavi Martinez, which is an anchorman. Surprisingly, sometimes Xavi Martinez even plays a center back. So with Pep Guardiola, when you have a formation with the two center midfielder like this, 4-2-3-1 is my favorite formation, I would recommend using a build-up and anchorman, or build-up and destroyer. You can be defensive and offensive by many things. I like to change my tactics regarding being defensive and offensive by player cards. For example, if I am winning by a couple of goals, a second half, minute 70, I will simply put two anchormans on as a DMF is going to be solid. But in general, I normally use an anchorman with a formation that has one DMF. So a lot of people say anchorman and a build-up, or etc, etc, but in my opinion, I think you need a destroyer and a anchorman, or a destroyer and a build-up. And when we do the squad builder, I will show you the best way, because we're trying to copy Bayern Munich club ID basically. Another tip I want to get you guys, if you notice, if you press R1, Pep Guardiola's defensive tactic is quite good as well, because if you notice, one thing that changes is that pressuring from aggressive turns into conservative, and defensive line drops, compactness goes high. Make sure to make your defensive tactic Team Spirit 99. Most of the time I actually start with this in case the opponent is a long ball spammer, and if things not going good, then I will go super duper offensive, and most of the time I have Diego Simeone as my assistant coach, etc, etc. Okay, let's go for the squad builder. I normally create a squad with create without registering a player, so I can choose the players manually. We've done this before, I have a lot of videos how to create a squad. I simply press square, register a player. Now first thing you need to pay attention to is player affinity, and then form, and then player cards basically. So if you press square here, don't worry, I'm not going to do this for every single player because that'd be very long. I'm just going to make one so you can see an example. Affinity preset tactic 1, descend in order, and I'm going to hit L2. Sorry, I'm going to hit L2. Yeah, that's correct. Now as you can see, it shows up all the players who are tactically fit with Pep Guardiola. Now it will take a second. I'm gonna pause this and I'll be back with the squad builder already, because I don't want to make this video too long, and I will explain more. Alrighty guys, so the squad builder is ready right now. As you can see, we're trying to copy Bayern Munich club ID. We have two prolific wingers on the flank, we have a fox in the box, we have Di Maria. Muller sometimes plays AMF, which is a dummy runner, and Di Maria is a dummy runner. Your attacking midfielder has to be the perfect player. Di Maria can dribble, can pass, can finish, and as a bonus, he's got the dummy runner card. Now, when it comes to your two center midfielders, I prefer using a destroyer and a build-up. A build-up player can send counters and great passes, while a destroyer always checks opponent's attack in check. A lot of people prefer a anchorman. I personally prefer anchorman only with a formation that has one DMF, because anchorman's defense narrow while destroyers go wide basically. Now as you can see, the best combination for your center backs, a fast and mobile one, Koscielny. As you can see, this is his status. pretty fast. This guy is rapid and a tall and strong one. We also have Ramos as a fullback because he's got the offensive fullback card, and he is crazy, man. He goes up all the freaking time. And we have Jordi Alba. Now the reason why, of course, if I can select here, guys, of course I can use Ronaldo on the flank instead of Neymar. I can use Bale, he's on good condition. I can use Ronaldo as a center back. I can use Messi as an attacking midfielder, but the problem is with Messi, his stamina is very low, so if I use Messi as an attacking midfielder, he'll be absolutely drained. The idea is I'm trying to use all the players who actually does play position game. Normally I use Ronaldo, Bale and Marcelo with Diego Simeone because they are counter players. I use them with counter players. But this is just me, you know, I pay attention to things too much. But the base is, now you don't need to have the exact same players as me. Build a squad, think about Bayern Munich's lineup, and the most important thing, guys, is that you need an offensive goalkeeper. Because offensive goalkeepers plays like a sweeper, if you know what I mean. Because your defensive line is very high, you really, with any manager with frontline pressure and aggressive, you need an offensive goalkeeper. And when it comes to your center back, fast and mobile with a strong one, the key for defending in the midfield is that you definitely need a destroyer or anchorman. I prefer destroyer and I would recommend destroyer, and the other player has to be a build-up. With your attacker midfielder, doesn't have to be dummy runner, but if it's dummy runner, it will make it even better. Do not change your wing forwards into SS because Robin and Neymar, they're prolific wingers. What does prolific winger do? When they are not under your control, they always stay up and they cut in very smartly. For example, if I'm holding a ball with Di Maria or Xavi Alonso, you will notice Neymar cutting in and you can do a diagonal through ball. Normally when I play with Pep Guardiola, I use Ibrahimovic as almost like a target man. I basically hold the ball with him and spread the ball wide for Neymar and Robin. Now, of course, if things go bad, you know, make sure to always have a super sub on your bench. Make sure to have a center back and a full back. I have an anchor man, box to box, and a bonus attacking midfielder. Now, the reason for being is because, and don't worry, we will change these player positions into DMF. We're gonna go to the game plan. Let's do that actually. Make sure to set up your tactic for Pep Guardiola 2 as well. When we come to the game plan, guys, the final step here, make sure that you change your build-up player into DMF because the build-up card is only active when the player position DMF, and change Vidal into DMF as well. Now, for example, let's say the guy has Robin, okay? There's a reason why I have a center-back and a full-back on my bench. If my opponent has Robin, it's very simple. I simply do this, change it to center back, and I will simply put Rafael Varane on. There you go. Simple as that. If my opponent has Ronaldo, what I do, I simply change Ramos into a center back. But in general, this is how I start. I play with 3 center backs because Pep Guardiola's containment area is wide. A lot of people even plays with 4 center backs. But as I explained at the beginning, you will have a massive advantage of overlapping, if you know what I mean. The best idea is to use a center back who can play a fullback. For example, Boateng and Ramos are almost perfect. Sometimes I start with 4 center backs. If I'm losing, things not going well, I simply change Boateng into a fullback and Ramos into a fullback so they can give me more support to attack without my team spirit going down, basically. So this is how normally I set it up. But, you know, again, we all have different teams, we all have different players. But in general, we're going to go back to the usual setup, and this is how I set it up. I put Ramos there because I have a choice to make him a fullback or a center-back. I prefer Ramos as a fullback because he's got the offensive fullback card, and Boateng doesn't. Now, when it comes here, a lot of people change players, Neymar to SS. They think they go higher, but they forget one thing, that Neymar is a prolific winger. And as you can see, the area is being ticked. That means these are the areas and the positions that prolific winger card will be active. So if you play him as a LMF or SS, the prolific winger won't be active. I don't care about his overall rating. I never feel a massive difference anyway. So guys, hope you find the video useful. Make sure to hit the like button, share, and subscribe. You can join my live stream every Tuesday 3 p.m, every Friday 10 p.m, and Saturday 9 p.m. You know, I normally in between every matches, I spare 10 minutes to answer questions live, etc, etc. So yeah, guys, I mean, if you are new to PES as well, make sure to check out the playlist called My Club Tips and General PES 2016 tutorials. I have a tutorial regarding everything. Any question you ask, I do have a tutorial about it. Anyway guys, I've been Sep. Till next time, ciao for now, and get your PES on.